Oh man, do we have a show for you today? Welcome to the OnlyBets Sports Podcast with me, SternBets, and DrewDelucchi here to bring you the top bets of the day, discussing going through all the sports. I'm excited to bring you in, Drew. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. I went 1-1 yesterday. I hit another under for NBA, so that was good. And Northern Colorado decided not to show up, unfortunately. But overall, not terrible.
Yeah, it happens. What are you gonna do about it? Yeah, I had a mixed day. My baseball plays basically broke even. Australia did not keep it close. Panama did not win, although they did make it exciting at the end there. One of my parlays here, DR minus 4.5 Venezuela money line. I'm just waiting for Man City to score later today to cash that parlay. Great Britain did cash. They crushed. That was a great game. So we won that bet. The 2-leg parlay, Venezuela only won by 4, not 4.5. So that parlay is kaput. Cuba did not keep it close. USA didn't keep it close. The under in that game, though, didn't even come close. So I cashed that under 11.5. That was a nice cash. Really felt like I should have put a full unit on there. And then, of course, the 4-leg money line parlay featuring USA, Great Britain, DR, and Venezuela, that cashed. And then both my plays, one in NHL and one in NBA, both of those hit sweat free. Washington Capitals, they just dominated the game. I think it was like 3-0 at the end of the first period. And then the Cleveland Cavaliers blew out Philadelphia by 15 points. And the Denver Nuggets, of course, kept it close. I really didn't understand that line. I would have been fine taking that at plus 8.5 when I first saw it. So excited to get into the games today. We have Champions League, which is so much fun. Hopefully we have Brad Betts coming in a little bit later to talk about it. Prince and I had a show last night where we broke down our best bets on the day. Maybe we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I want to bring it to you, Drew. We're ending the college basketball season. We're getting into tournament styles really quickly. Can you just kind of let me and our listeners know, what are we expecting here? Is this like the last days of regulation here, the regular season before we hit to tournament? Some teams are going to go into March Madness, right? For the famous tournament, but there is other things to win here, even if you're not there, right?
Yeah, there is. And I'll say this for WBC real quick. What was it? Japan. It was funny because I didn't watch the game, watch the highlights. So I woke up and I saw it was 9-0, and then I realized it was 0-0 to the eighth, and Japan scored 9 runs in the eighth inning. So that'd be crazy if you bet the Japan spread there, because you'd be like, oh, they dominated most of the game. No, it was like 0-0 to the eighth. So I thought that was interesting.
I was really mad that I couldn't bet on this game. I had two best bets. I was going to take Japan on the spread no matter what it was. That would have cashed. And the other bet that I wanted to take was the no-run first inning. That would have cashed. Hell, that would have cashed the first 8
Oh, if
innings.
I watched that game, I took Japan on the spread, I'd be sweating.
Yeah, you only asked for sure.
Yeah.
You can only do the
Yeah.
outcomes, but
Yeah.
I'm upset they're not releasing these lines. I think that they're sick of the public taking advantage of just taking the
Yes.
favorites,
The
which
only
I
ones I see that do that release the lines no matter what is Fanatics. That's the only one I see that does that. But yeah, to go on to college basketball, yes, we are on the final turn. Selection Sundays is this Sunday, to where they release all the teams, right, and all their seedings, right. And before I go to the slate, I'll tell you and the viewers how this works. So the number one overall seed gets to pick what region they're in. There's 4 regions, and then the basically the number one overall seed, whatever region they pick, right. The eighth overall second seed, right, if that makes sense. So like the fourth overall second seed goes in their region, so the worst second seed goes in their region, and so on. And then I think it gets spread out from all the other one seeds. And then the automatic, if you win your conference, it's an automatic bid to there. Some teams don't necessarily need the automatic bid, but it helps. So, say for example, right, if like a team that already has an automatic bid, and most of teams that already have automatic bids are part of like power conferences, like for example, like let's say UConn or St. John's win the Big East, that leaves room for someone else, right? But like let's say Seton Hall, who doesn't necessarily have an automatic bid, wins the Big East, it takes away someone else who's on the bubble. So it's really interesting when it comes to that. We just saw a big win yesterday. For I called it out. I didn't necessarily place it because I had a future on them to win the conference tourney. They haven't yet, but they beat Santa Clara beat St. Mary's, and the bubble teams are probably scared because you know what, St. Mary's is going to be in the tournament no matter what happens against Gonzaga today because they have the resume and they deserve it. It's the first time they would be in the tournament since 1996. Guess who was on the team in 1996? Steve Nash. So. Shout out to Santa Clara Broncos for that. I posted on my timeline. That was a big win for them. But yeah, we're expecting to see these conference games. People were like, "Oh, well, some conference tournaments hasn't started." Well, that's how quickly they do it, guys. They do back to back games, right? We just saw Troy yesterday win the Sun Belt, aka the Fun Belt. I think it's the most unfair organized tournament, conference tournament, because if you're like one of the last seeds, you have to win like 5 straight games, and the 1 and 2 seeds are in the semifinals. They want to make like a belt. They call it the Fun Belt, but Troy demolished Georgia Southern and they ruined their Cinderella kind of story because they were 300 to 1 odds beforehand. But we have some higher mid-major conferences happening today, and I'm looking forward to going in it. I don't know if you have any questions before I go into the slate today.
No, not really. I'm fascinated to learn about it. I did have a question about the number 1 seed. What does it mean that they get to choose which conference they're in?
So basically, there's 4 1 seeds, and then they have one number 1 overall seeds, like the number 1 seed, and then there's 4 regions, right? I don't know. I think it's like the Midwest, then like the Northeast and like the South and stuff, and they get to choose which region they want to be in. Most of the time, the number 1 overall seed wants to choose a region that's close to home, so they don't have to travel that far, right? If that makes sense, close to their college.
Oh,
So
I get
so
it. Okay, you're
yeah,
talking
so
about
like
in the 64 in the actual
in the
March
March
Madness.
Madness.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay,
So say right now it's looking like Duke will probably get it because they have the head to head over Michigan, which I think it's Michigan and Duke. And some people make an argument it could be Florida. Like honestly, I think Florida's gonna be a 1 seed too. But I think that if Duke wins the tournament, Michigan wins the tournament, it'll probably be Duke. But like let's say it is Duke, Duke's gonna want to pick one that's close to like the Carolina area. So
got it.
yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, not sure why I didn't get it the first time. All right, bring us into today. I'm excited to hear what
Yeah.
you had because these games are starting to really matter for these teams. There's no more
Yeah.
room for error.
Power Five conference tournaments are starting today, and it matters to more than others. But I want to clarify to some people is I'm not saying these teams won't try, but it doesn't matter as much to them because they're in a tournament, but they're still going to try to win. Like for example, like I think Michigan could possibly win it all because the Big Ten win the conference tournament this year. But you need to think about like Michigan's of course going to try to win the tournament, but there's these other teams that are a lot more desperate because they may need it to get into the tournament, like made just to win like 2 or 3 games so they get the bid or something. So be wary when you bet on these conference tournaments. Personally, I think some teams, like for example Kansas for the Big 12, they want to win the tournament, and also look for the neutral sites. Look where the neutral sites are because we have a game actually starting at 9:30. It's going to be Baylor versus Arizona State and the Big 12 tournament, guys. It's in Kansas City, Missouri. That's Jayhawk territory. So,
Sorry, just
uh,
real quick. Sorry, it's
yeah.
12:30 Eastern,
Oh, my
9:30
bad.
Pacific. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
good.
8:30 Pacific.
I
Yeah.
just we've been keeping
Uh,
Eastern time. I
yeah.
just want to keep it consistent.
Yeah, definitely. And it's in Kansas City, Missouri. And it's one of the most unfair neutral sites because when the Jayhawks play, it's like a mini Allen Fieldhouse. And something that I found as good value, I will shout out, guys, is Kansas is plus 850 to win the tournament. There's going to be a lot of Jayhawks fans there. And I think Kansas has been rolling at the right time. And I think that's good value for the tournament, for Big 12 tournament play when that comes because the neutral site is in a favorable position for Kansas. But when it comes to Arizona, we have Arizona State versus Baylor. I don't necessarily have anything in that game. I'm probably just going to watch it. Both teams aren't that great, but Arizona State is a sneaky team. They are plus 4.5 to Baylor. I think that's could be a little too many points that it's not necessarily worth it in my opinion. So we have some bottom tier teams that you'll see that are playing because it's the first round of these major conferences. Like you'll see Maryland versus Oregon. Both teams aren't that great. Utah versus Cincinnati. That's too big of a spread for my liking. So be wary when you bet on these lower teams. Both these teams have to, of course, win games to get to the tournament, hopefully. But the first game I'm going to go on, which I am personally a big fan of. I love this UMBC team. I know I've been talking about them. I think they're the class of the American East. They're one of the lower mid majors. And then the American East, they do home court advantage because they're all like these teams, by the way, are all in that peninsula in the Northeast. So it's not much travel. They're facing UMass Lowell. Last time they played, UMBC won by like 20 points at UMass Lowell. UMBC covered the spread against New Hampshire. They absolutely killed them. And then UMass Lowell made an amazing comeback against their last opponent. Right now, the spread is minus. Right now, the spread is -8.5. Uh, personally, personally, I would take that spread. I like that spread a lot. I know it may sound like a lot, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it with I'm going to add their money line with something else that I will talk about later on. I don't know if you had a take on that game before I move on.
No, model leans there though.
Yeah.
Just under the amount that I would normally just blindly bet it, but I really like the play.
Because to me, this 8.5 looks like a neutral spread because I think UMBC is that much better. And like people, factor in this is home, and open at -7 on Fanatics and then it moved to -8.5 overall. So that's impressive. Um, Let me see real quick. I was going to do halftime full time, but the halftime full time didn't have great value on it. I believe the halftime full time. Actually, halftime full time is -150 on DK. It is a lot of juice though. So
Hey, you know what you can parlay that with?
yeah, I
You
was thinking that. That's
you
good. That's not bad.
just take the USA on the money line against Italy in the World Baseball Classic. I know that it's not correlated in any which way, shape, or form, but
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty safe parlay piece there.
Yeah.
And probably bring it
Let
down
me
to about
see.
125.
Yeah, honestly, I like UMBC's halftime full time because I think they win this wire to wire. They have a guy in there. I love Ace Valentine. So yeah, I prefer than adding it somewhere else. Let me see real quick. Yeah, moves it to -125. Let's do that. USA money line.
I guess if
Uh,
you do this long enough, you get a feel for the juice.
yeah, well, because I think USA will still 100% care about winning this game because I think if they lose this, they have a chance to be in second place in their pool, right?
Yes, the run differentials matter a lot. And they only won, I think it was 5-3 yesterday. Shout out to the under 11.5, which was just way too inflated. But yeah, I think that they do try. And if you're looking at the games and you're watching them, everybody is into it. Everybody. You
Oh
see
yeah.
Aaron Judge hit a home run. I didn't see that much emotion when they went to the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. He was pumped. Like I don't think I've ever seen Aaron Judge show that much emotion. I was like, wait, he is
Hypnotized.
human in a little way.
He's
And
the
then I
real.
see and I see Paul Skeens just making Mexico look silly.
Oh my
But
gosh, that was brutal. We'll get to World Baseball Classic though
yeah,
soon.
definitely. Um, and then of course after I'm done, Stern, you can ask me any questions about any other conference that you're interested in. Also. Uh, Also, Detroit Mercy did beat Robert Morris yesterday. That was considered a pretty big upset in my opinion. And Detroit Mercy's playing today against Wright State. Don't necessarily have a take in that game. Um, you know what? Let's go to, in my opinion, I think one of the biggest, because I do have one before this, but I want to go because the line did come up this morning. Santa Clara at Gonzaga. This is the WCC final. So people think that Santa Clara doesn't need this because they were last four in before they even played their first game against Pacific. And then they beat Pacific, and then they beat St. Mary's, which was another quad one. St. Mary's is in no matter what. And now they're facing Gonzaga. If you look at the last two matchups between these two, the first game, Santa Clara at Gonzaga kept it close, and then Gonzaga blew them out. And then same Santa Clara at home against Gonzaga literally puts Gonzaga to plus money live at one point, and they just folded at the end. And I think the Santa Clara team is on a roll. We saw Gonzaga's kind of like struggle-ish against Oregon State team. The spread was 20.5, and Oregon State only lost by 9. Like, shout out to Oregon State. I'm not saying Gonzaga's not necessarily trying, but I think they're just trying to cruise to the tournament. I think they do want to win this game because this is their last time they will be in the West Coast Conference. But I will make this an official play, even though I have a future in Santa Clara winning the tournament. Santa Clara, give me plus 7.5. That's a lot of points to give a really good Santa Clara team, I think. I know Gonzaga can go on those patented runs, but I think the Santa Clara team is on a mission. There's no rest advantage here for either team. Both teams played last yesterday, and this game is at 9 p.m. Eastern. So I like Santa Clara plus 7.5.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. I think the line is efficient, but I think that there's a lot of value on SCU here.
Because I thought it was going to open at like 4.5, honestly, because the way they've been playing. And this, I saw 7.5, and I was like, okay, that's a lot of points. You know, it's like one of the deeper three possessions.
You have a lean on
And
the
then,
oh, sorry, go on.
oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh, wait, what were you saying at the under?
Yeah, do you have a lean on the over or under in this game here?
So it's tough because Santa Clara, with them, right? Like the first half of the St. Mary's game was just under. In the second half, they went high. So Santa Clara likes to play efficient and fast, right? Like they don't necessarily St. Mary's likes to play slow, but Gonzaga and St. Mary's, they can get into shootouts and that way. Gonzaga is like St. Mary's and not St. Mary's, like Santa Clara in a way where if they feel like they need to go fast and they get their open shot, they go fast, right? They design plays in a way to where it's like, oh, if the first shot is open, take it. If it's not, we have another shot. So I kind of worry about that because I think both these. Let me double check. I think both these games, yeah, both of the times these guys played, it's been pretty high scoring. The last game these played were 94-86. And then the game before that was 89-77. So if I would do anything, it would probably be the over. But you know what? I saw Gonzaga score 65 points against Oregon State yesterday. So I don't know what's going to happen this WCC. If I had to lean one, it'd probably be the over.
Yeah, that's what I was
But it,
looking at, but no play for me yet. I just wanted to hear
but
your
it could be a
opinion.
tense thing. You never know. Like you could see nerves and it slows down. So
Also a very high total already.
yeah.
Not necessarily interested in pushing it, but just curious. All right. What else you got for us?
Yes, and then of course I know we talked about this conference, the Southland Conference. We like McNeese and SFA a lot on this show. We're in the semifinals for the Southland. The Southland's kind of a smaller conference. UT Rio Grande Valley had a really big win yesterday, and Texas A&M Corpus Christi did. Congratulations, your guys' rewards is play McNeese and SF Austin. Um, yes, I saw these spreads yesterday, right? They were lower than this, and the money lines were lower than this as well too. So personally, I do like SFA and McNeese. I think they're going to meet in the tourney together, the final. One of the most unfair parts of this tourney is the neutral site is at McNeese in Louisiana. So that's kind of unfair and unfortunate. I was going to combine. I was going to combine Stephen F. Austin and McNee's money line, and it's minus 159. Personally, I had a boost to bring it to like minus 125. So if you have any kind of boost, you can do that. But if not, you can do McNee, Stephen F. Austin, and add USA. So yeah,
Right now I'm looking for maybe for them
or you can do all spread.
I'm looking for them to meet in the tournament as the tournament like winner or just to face off each other, but I don't see it being offered currently. But that's something
Oh
I'm
yeah,
going to
because
look at.
whoever wins this game, so basically, if they win both their games, they meet in the final.
Right. Okay.
So that's probably why they're not offering it. It's only 4 teams now.
Yeah, I see that. And McNeese is minus 110 to win it all. SFA is plus 180. Is there any value on Stephen F. Austin?
Yes. So it's interesting because with this opened at, because I remember when before the tournament started, it was about like a week ago when they opened the lines. McNeese was like plus I think 110, and Stephen F. Austin was only like plus 125. And then McNeese gained a lot of steam because I think people noticed that it's at McNeese home court. But I think Stephen F. Austin wins this tournament. I saw Stephen F. Austin go to McNeese and almost beat him, and then they beat McNeese at home. I think Stephen F. Austin is the better team, and I think them at plus 180 is not bad value at all. I like that for Stephen F. Austin to win the tourney.
Can we get this as an official play or not yet?
Um, because it's very interesting because I think if Stephen F. Austin wins this game, right? I personally think that they will probably be like plus 130 or plus 140 on the money line against McNeese.
Well, that's good enough for me. I'm gonna lock in my bonus bet at plus 180 over on
Yeah.
DK. Can't can't
So
can't deny the
yeah.
value.
Yeah, exactly. So, because I think McNeese will be favored since it's on their home court. Maybe it's going to be like a -3.5 kind of line, I think, because both these teams are pretty neutral and you give like 3 to 3.5 points. It's unfortunate it's at McNeese, but it's been like this for a while. But I guess the official play that I'm going to make, I know it's a lot of juice, but on Fanatics, I think you can get it for -150. But I'll do McNeese, Stephen F. Austin, and USA money line.
All right, and you can probably get that for around -110, -115, right?
Yeah, let me double check that real quick. So, because I have McNeese and Stephen F. Austin already clicked, so I just have to go to WBC real quick on DK, and then -130. That's not bad.
Okay. All right. Yeah, send that to me and I'll add it to our official picks.
Oh, and
Um,
DK just gave me a 25% boost for WBC. So,
yeah. Well, speaking of, well, why don't we just get into the World Baseball Classic
yeah,
real quick, and then we'll head into soccer with our
I don't
main
know if you had
event,
any questions
spread bets.
for any college leans you had.
Yeah, always do, but we got to move on. Maybe we'll get
Okay.
back to it at the end of the show.
Okay.
Talking about boosts on DK, they're offering a World Baseball Classic boost here. I tried to use it on the USA first five run line, but they are not offering it because I think that they're smart and not interested in getting into the first five innings where USA has been absolutely dominant. Now, last night I put in a money line parlay where I took, I think it was Japan. Hold on, let me go find that real quick. Anyway, I took basically the three favorites. I left out the Canada game, even though I like Canada to beat Puerto Rico, and that's plus 200. Not so interested in getting into it because I got burned yesterday, but I do think that there is value on the plus 2.5 on the run line. I'm going to be focusing on USA -4.5 here. I know that's a lot, but Italy and the USA have both taxed their bullpen quite extensively over the last few days. I think that USA is more uniquely suited and a much deeper team to be able to handle that. I think in the last day here, I think USA really pushes, and I don't know. Italy's a good team, but I don't think that they have enough to be able to hold USA down. I think that the USA is going to want to come out and show their dominance after a good performance against Mexico, but a clean game, lower scoring, and I think that they really want to kind of just break out the big guns and just go heavy. The other difference maker here is Mexico has a really good bullpen. They have good pitchers. Not sure if Italy has the same level of depth. So it's going to be one-sided for me here. I'm going to use that DK boost to get this down to 119. I
Oh, I
also
found the first five, by the way.
Oh yeah, on Fanatics, I'm assuming.
No, DK. It's on DK
Oh, they opened it
now.
up right. I literally checked right before the show. What's the line at right there?
Yeah, I clicked on the first X innings. It's minus USA -1.5 at -250.
-250. They're not messing around, are they?
They're not.
They just don't want you to bet it. But that's the play that I would play. That is an unbelievable value. Um, gosh, they really are smart. They're getting smarter. Yeah, the reason why that they're the books I think want you to play the full game is because they saw USA use their best relievers yesterday, and they're looking for a little bit of late game variance. I don't care. I'm gonna take the juice. I'm gonna take the favorite, and I'm just gonna eat it. I think USA really does get it done, and I think they get it done in a big way here. Again, Italy just doesn't have the bullpen to keep up, and they don't have the bats to keep up either. And by the way, that money line parlay here, Japan, Netherlands, and USA. I got that for minus 138. Obviously, that Japan game is gone, but I think it's minus 145 with just the Netherlands and USA. I do like the Netherlands to get it done as well. They have a really good team. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on any games or anything that you were looking at
Yes.
here?
So, can I speak on this pitcher for the USA that I like that's starting that people may not know about?
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah, so Nolan McLean, he was a rookie for the Mets. I have one of my buddies that I would speak to over PlayStation and stuff. He's a big Mets fan, and I would bet on his player outs when he started. The Mets had a big issue with players, pitchers going 6 innings. So I would always, bet on Mets pitchers going under 6 innings. I was like, well, let me watch this Nolan McLean guy, this new guy, and this guy's curveball and break is nasty. I think he has the biggest break over anybody in the MLB since he came in. He's a very nasty pitcher. He struggled a little bit later on, but he's a pitcher. If you only you see for the first time, it's absurd. I remember when he faced the Phillies for one of his first starts. I think he struck out like 9 or 10 batters. So it's going to be very hard for Italy to read this guy, because I think there's only one person who's probably seen him, and that's Vinny Pasquantino. So this Noel McLean guy is not someone to sleep on, guys. If he has his stuff, he's nearly unhittable. He mixes his fastball and curveball really well. He doesn't have the best velocity, but he has great break on his pitches. I can see him going 3 to 4 innings because he's usually very efficient. And I know, yeah, of course, the USA bullpen is taxed, but I've watched Italy play. That's the other team I root for as well, being Italian American. But I always, USA's won. But the thing about Italy is their starting pitching, has been decent. It's also cares about the teams they played, but got the job done against the teams they played. But when their bullpen comes in, that's when they usually will give up the runs. So I think if USA, is able to get to the starting pitching early, and Noel McLean's pitch like he did his rookie year against major league batters, I think USA should be able to take a good lead in the beginning of this game.
Yep, and yep. And then the last one I wanted to just get into, I was looking for my notes before Israel, Netherlands. I think that Netherlands is just a more complete team. Israel's biggest deficiency is their bullpen, and getting a double A pitcher who posted a 480 something ERA is not necessarily what you're looking for to get a lot of innings. This guy, he does just has a very low strikeout rate, and Netherlands has Xander Bogaerts, Ozzie Albies, and Didi Gregorius, who's they're going to punish any mistakes that are given to them. So I think that the Netherlands are going to be able to roll. And again, their bullpen is just much better, which is one of the primary metrics that I like looking to for a winner, especially when you're looking at late game variance, which always happens in these games, and we've seen it. Sometimes to our benefit, sometimes to our negative. All right.
They also have Sedane Rafaela, who's a really good Red Sox player too, who I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of.
Forgot about
Um,
him.
and
Try not
but
to
I
jinx
love
those Red
Ozzy.
Sox.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't blame you, but I honestly I like that look. That spread, you always time you see like a spread that confuses you, but honestly, I'm gonna buy the bait. I think Netherlands is just the better team in general. I think they'll be able to hit, and I don't think Israel can hit with them personally.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I would take the Netherlands minus 1.5 if I didn't have them in a money line parlay with USA and Japan. The other game that I had to lean to, and I mentioned this earlier, now the line has moved, so I'm not interested in taking it. Canada, Puerto Rico. I think Canada is a really live underdog here. Just don't, I Puerto Rico is fun, but I think that they're punching above their weight right now. And Canada has been punching under their weight, and I expect that the underlying metrics to kind of resolve itself. Canada's a deep team. They have the pitching, they have the batters. There's no reason why they should be 1-1 right now. I think that they could have and should have won Panama the other day. I expect them to bounce back in a big way. And Puerto Rico's already 3-0, and I think this could be a letdown spot against a really nice win against a good Cuba club yesterday. But again,
Yeah, I agree
no
with
official
that.
bet here. I might play this live if I get a better spread. And I can very much see Puerto Rico jumping out early and then just coasting. So if I can get Canada on the spread, and by the way, you saw that yesterday in the Cuba game. They jumped off early and then they just kind of coasted. And Cuba had a few chances to come back in that game. They just couldn't get the runner around base. Speaking
Yeah, I
of,
saw that too.
yeah, just fundamental gosh darn baseball. Some of these teams, I get pissed in my own softball league. You have to hit the cutoff, man. What are you doing? Oh, that was really frustrating. Um, you just got to cut off. You just got to hit the cutoff, man. The game. The goal isn't to prevent every single run from crossing the plate. The goal is to prevent runners from getting into scoring position. That's it. That's it. And if they were just to do that, that game would have been a lot closer and we would have cashed it. I think I can't remember the exact game where I was really upset about this. I think it was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Um, where was it? Oh yeah, the Cuba Colombia game was like that. The Italy Great Britain game was like that, and the Panama Canada game was like that. All three of those games yesterday or 2 days ago, sorry, were just you gotta make the cutoff man, and they would have all of those games. I think we would have won it. So anyway, a little bit of
And you
soapbox
see,
there.
you also see how that separates the great teams from the good teams. You see USA do that a lot. Okay, the cutoff man. You see Dominican Republic do that, and also people need to realize not everyone is Ronald Acuna. Not everybody has a cannon. Not everybody's Fernando Tatis. Like not everybody has Aaron Judge who has a cannon. Like hit the cutoff man. Okay.
I literally just watched that video last night of Ronald Acuna at the warning right before the warning track, throw an absolute dime. I was watching the game live because I'm a Yankee fan. I was watching the Yankees, and he hit
Flat-footed.
just a dime to third base just to get him, and he didn't even slide because he was like, "There's no way anybody's catching me here." I'll try to repost that later if you guys are following me on Twitter. All right, let's move on to either. Do you want to choose NBA or NHL? Where do you want to go first?
We can go NHL.
All right, let's go NHL. I'm excited about this slate. It's a huge slate. Huge
Huge.
slate. I'm going to give it off to you first. I know that you have an underlean here.
Yes. My underlean here is on DK. I believe it's under 6.5 or -122. It's the Ducks versus the Jets. And usually I love these kind of spots, especially when the last game was going to overtime was 4-4 and it was a 9-goal game. I like the regression here, and also people need to remember the Ducks have played 9 straight home games, and now they're finally going on the road as well. The Ducks just got shut out by the Blues, and ever since that 5-4 game, Hellebuck has been on fire. If you look at the Jets' last games, none of them have sniffed 6 goals or more because Hellebuck has been blocking and defending like his life depends on it, like he did in the Olympics. So if you look at the last games for the Jets, we see a 3-2 game, 4-1, 3-2, 2-1, and then also the Jets. Something about the Jets' offense is the Jets don't necessarily have a great offense. They don't really attack like other teams. They basically play very conservatively. And I like this 6.5 line. You can also get it for a flat line under 6 if you want even money at Bet MGM for +100. I know people may be worried because the Ducks can score goals, but usually the Ducks on the road have averaged less than 3 goals per game. Because I know the last game the Ducks lost 4-0, and then they won 6-5, and they won 5-1, then they lost 5-1. But I like regression here from the previous matchup. I think Hellebuck will be on fire. I don't trust the Jets to score enough goals to make it go to 7 goals or more. So I like this under 6.5.
Good luck, man. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go in to Minnesota Wild 60-minute money line at +100. We're gonna get Utah on a back-to-back, which always means that their defense is going to be a little bit shakier. It breaks down under intense pressure. And I think Minnesota is going to be able to exploit that and use their physicality to really kind of bully their way into the goal here. And I'm expecting Philip Gustafsson to play here for the Wild. And I think he's the better goalie. And I think that Utah is just going to be able to struggle when their defensive line breaks down. Minnesota just it is rolling right now. Let me pull it up here. They are coming off a loss, which is exactly where I would like to bet them, right? I like that. I like positive regression. They lost to the Colorado Avalanche, which okay, it's the Colorado Avalanche, but they beat the Tampa
Who
Bay
doesn't?
Lightning. They beat the Vegas Golden Knights in the two games before that. They're competitive. They're battling, and I like them to pull it out here. Utah is coming off a brutal overtime loss yesterday against Chicago. Didn't expect that. I actually had Utah on the money line. Didn't come through. I really like this back to back with the travel going into Minnesota and trying to pull out a win. I think is going to be a really tall task. Um, Honestly, I don't mind the minus 148 that the market's giving. I'm gonna take the plus money though, or even money, I should say, on the 60-minute line. Any thoughts there?
No, I agree with you. Personally, something I like in this, especially with the way the Wild are playing. Like, I this line is very suspicious, but I don't see how the Mammoth score more than 2 goals this game. I mean, personally, so I really like the Wild here.
Yeah, and something to note, I am generally one of the major things that I like to look at when I make my bets is the sharp money versus public money. I am going against the sharp money here. So that is something to be aware of. That's not something that I do often, only when I feel fairly confident that I'm on the right side of something. So there is that asterisk. There was a few other looks that I linked here. I heard on the early edge there was an interesting parlay. I think that was with was it Carolina and Tampa Bay Lightning. I really wanted to get the Tampa Bay Lightning in a first period money line. If that line becomes playable, I'll really play around with it. The Blue Jackets, I think, are also coming off a back to back and might be a little bit tired to start that game. So, yeah, they were playing the LA Kings yesterday. And that's a kind of a brutal thing. It was 5-4. Their last two games, they lost 5-4 to LA and to Utah. I think that they're just exhausted, and I would back the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. That was a look that I was looking at, but can't get to them all. And honestly, I just linked the Minnesota Wild play so much better, and I'm trying to limit myself to not betting 15 bets per sport.
No, I agree with you on that. Something I was going to say is if I had a lean in this game, it would actually be the Blue Jackets to cover. I think the Blue Jackets are a really hot team. I think they're like 14-2 in their last night. It was like 14-2-3 or something in their last 19 games, and both teams have suffered weird losses. Like I remember Blue Jackets lost 5-4 overtime. The Lightning had a crazy 8-7 loss the other day. Remember I
Wild.
mentioned the save. Remember I mentioned the over 6.5 lane. I was like, holy cow, that's a baseball score. But that was a WBC score. But yeah, I would be careful with that Blue Jackets one because the Blue Jackets have been hot. Like I don't know what you're gonna get from the Lightning or Blue Jackets personally.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the first period money line, which I think was a much safer bet because they've been coming out of the gate really strong, and then they tend to let off the gas and let the other team back into it. So that's how I would attack that game specifically. But I don't disagree with you that the run line, puck line, I should say, plus 1.5 at minus 115 isn't good value on the Blue Jackets either. All right, let's hit the NBA. Unless you have any other thoughts in the NHL before we kind of scooch
No,
along.
nothing
Um,
much.
this NBA slate is wonderful. It's huge, and I have no idea what to do with it. That's all I'll say on there. What do you got for us? I was happy with my performance yesterday, but I don't see any obvious sections to bet on.
Yeah, definitely. I took, of course, the Mavericks and Hawks at under 239.5. It's around staying around that point. It's at under 239.5 and minus 108. I got minus 115. I think we'll hover on there. I just wanted to get it yesterday because I like that line. I don't see it raising that much. One of the reasons I love this line is because I personally I've not been a believer in this Mavericks team, especially offensively. Both these teams just, gave up on the season, of course. And even with Cooper Flag coming back, he's still been rusty. The Mavericks have struggled to get to 100 points, but they haven't been playing like absolute terrible defense. I know people are worried about the Hawks. Is the Hawks, if you look at their last games, they score 120 plus, points per game. But the problem with that is, look who they've been playing, right? The Hawks, right? They scored 125 points against the Sixers without everybody. They scored 131 points against the Bucks, which usually overs always hit at the Bucks, against the Blazers, Wizards, Nets. And then when they played a team like the Heat, they only scored 97. So you need to think about this, guys. I know it's scary, especially when you see the Hawks, but even a 125 to 105 game hits this. I don't see the Mavericks personally. Like I know people will say, why do you bet the Mavericks under? Because there still is variance. Because what if the Mavericks, win 115, 105 or something? So that's why I like the under in this. If I see 239.5 points for two teams that are obviously trying to tank, and I see one team that's been struggling offensively but playing decent defense, give me under 239.5.
Yeah, and we played that yesterday. I really like that look, so I'm definitely jumping on board there. I think it's a really sharp play, man.
I think the sharp money's on the under two as well.
Oh, let me double check that real quick, but I think you're
When I
right.
checked it last night, yeah.
Which by the way, if anyone's curious where I get my sharp money versus public money, I look at Circa and then I look at DK's uh amount tickets versus actual amount of money. And then I also take a look at Picket, which has a free tool to look at the total handle on their app. Just for a reference, there's $218,000 over 8,300 bets. The public is actually on the under 72.5% and the over 27.5%. And then the sharp money is on the under at 48%. So there's actually, it's the opposite of what I thought, but I'm still rolling with it. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where, because I remember this kind of reminds me of when it was like the Mavericks Raptors, and then even when like Ingram and Cooper got announced, it raised to like 243, and the game didn't even reach like I think 220 points. So, um, yeah, I like that. But it's like you said, I'm looking at the slate overall. I don't really see anything else I necessarily like. But tough loss for the Warriors yesterday. I know they're missing everybody, even like some of their bench players. But the Warriors go to the Bulls today. Don't see much value in that. But yeah, besides that, that's really the only line I see value in, because it's a lot of tanking teams I see that are playing today, that are playing against top end teams. Like the best match of the day is probably going to be the Celtics at the Spurs, but
Yeah,
no
I
lean
was
in
looking
that.
at that one. I could not figure out a play because I don't know if they're going to be able to guard Wemby. He's just a freak of nature, and I can't bet for or against it. The only look that I really wanted to take was Detroit against Brooklyn, but the line was set at 14 or 15 and a half, so that was no bueno. I was looking
Oh,
at
did you hear?
what? Yeah.
Did you hear what Jaylen Brown real quick said about Wimby?
No. What is
Oh, he said he was asked on his like podcast thing, do you believe you're the best, two-way player in the NBA? Who was like, not counting Wimby, I am, because Wimby is not human, he's an alien. And the guy said to him, so you're the best human two-way player. He was like, yes.
It's so funny. He is so good. It's unbelievable watching him. His like little slim little arms just snake up 10 feet. It's wild. So yeah, I have a lean on the Detroit -7 or 8 on the spread, and I was gonna parlay that with something. Just didn't find any good parlay pieces. I really actually was kind of thinking about Memphis on an exaggerated spread. The way Philadelphia has looked without their key players, not good. Not good at all. I just don't have enough information on Memphis to really make a play. Do you have any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, so I watched so of course I was watching the beginning of the Sixers and Cavs game, because I did also they're under in the first quarter. The thing about them I've noticed without like VJ and Joel and stuff,
And
they'll like
Maxi.
try to, and Maxi, yep, and Maxi, of course, respect to Maxi. He's probably the best player, one of the best players on that team by far. It's just when you have JoJo, it's nuts. But they literally have nobody but Quentin Grimes and Kelly Oubre. Basically, in the beginning, they started off well, but then when the Cavs found out, hey, let's just defend Quentin Grimes and Kelly Oubre, they kind of struggled to score, and Cavs took off in that aspect. So I don't see. I don't see a way where the Sixers really blow them out unless they're just Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes are just hitting their threes.
Yeah, that's kind of why I stayed away as well. It's just not an attractive number in either way.
I just don't trust the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I hear. All right, all right, all right. Let's get into soccer. I was hoping Brad Betts would be able to join us. Unfortunately, I think he's dealing with some kids at home, which is always fun. But we're gonna go. I'm gonna give you one play that both Prince and I both really like here, and that's going to be in the Bayern Munich Atalanta game. We both don't see Atalanta being very good defensively. We think that Bayern Munich is one of the top teams in this entire series. Honestly, they have tons of high quality, dangerous shots, and that works really well because Atalanta is giving up a lot of or I should say, high quality, dangerous shots. So we're going to take Bayern Munich -1 on the spread. Full disclosure, I took Bayern Munich team total over 1.5 goals and the money line, while Prince took the -1 on the spread. I think the -1 on the spread is -105, while the little same game parlay is -125. And honestly, the -1 is even safer to a certain degree. So yeah, I think that's an excellent look there, and that's one that we really agreed on. And we have picks for every game. He has a parlay, so he has 7 picks. I have 8 picks, one in every single game. And again, if you want that, go listen to the podcast last night, the show, the article that we put out. I think it's all excellent. And honestly, it's getting really real. It's getting real, man. This Champions League is going to be a lot of fun. And if you're looking for the match of the next 2 days for this week, you have to watch Sporting at Bodo Glimt. Bodo Glimt is the Cinderella story of Cinderella stories. And personally, I faded them the last round in the knockout stages against Inter, who I thought was going to destroy them with their defense. And again, Lisbon Sporting is a great defensive unit, but they're missing a few people. And Bodo Glimt is just electric. Watching them is so much fun. It's really the must-watch TV. So go check that out. That's going to be at 4 o'clock Wednesday, not today, tomorrow. But today, the game of the match has got to be Bayern Munich Atalanta. That's going to be a lot of fun. Very much looking forward to watching that. And just a reminder, normally these games go off at 12:45 p.m. Eastern, the early game, and then the later game starts at 3 p.m. Because of daylight savings works differently here than in Europe. Those games are going off at 1:45 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Eastern. So something to set your clocks to, and maybe get a second screen to watch that during work. Although don't quote me on that because I don't want to get in trouble. Drew, do you have any thoughts on soccer, or are you just going to be following along and watching on Golasso like the rest of us?
I'll just follow along.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Anything else that you want to talk about, Michael? If you want to come in, also, anybody wants to say anything, this is the time. If you have any fun questions to talk about, we have about 10 minutes to kind of shoot the, can't say that word. I want to keep our rating clean.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Stern, let me know if you have any questions, since we have time, on any college basketball leans you had.
Yeah, I guess, what's the best conference winner here that you would kind of put money on?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to bring that up and I forgot. So yeah, there's some I have some good value conference winners, like value wise, if that makes sense. You can put like bonus bets on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I did with
perfect.
SFA already.
Awesome. Yeah, so I like SFA. It's not necessarily the best value, but it is good value in my opinion. And then another thing I would say is Wisconsin plus 3,500 to win the Big Ten. I think is good value. They're a team. The one team that has beat Michigan was Wisconsin in the Big Ten. They can shoot the three, and if they're hot from three, they don't really. I think they have a double buy. So them at plus 3,500 to put bonus bets on to win the Big Ten is pretty dang good value, because the way they can shoot the three. If they're hot, we just saw them beat Purdue because they shot the crap out of the three. They live and die by it. They're like the Warriors. That's good value right there.
Wait, what's the number on Wisconsin?
I believe on DK, the plus 3,500. Let me double check.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing 3,000 now, but it was just like,
yeah,
oh
I
my
still
gosh,
take it.
That's crazy. All right, so I'm gonna have to put at least $5 on that, if not 10.
Yeah, because I know we've talked about Wisconsin in the past, and they're a team that if they can get hot from three, I think they can beat anyone. They did go to Michigan and beat Michigan for the only Big Ten loss. because they shot the three very well. So
Yeah, it's like
um,
Kentucky a few years ago when they weren't necessarily so good, but they just shot the
yeah,
crap out of those threes and they ended up going really, really far. I think they went into the Sweet Eight or no, Sweet
uh,
16 or the
yeah.
whatever it was.
Oh, the final. Oh, they. You talking about the year where UConn won it?
Yeah, I think so. Was that last
Yeah, they
year?
went to the championship and lost to UConn.
Oh, they went far. That was an incredible
Oh no! Oh
shooting
wait,
team.
or it was the Final Four and they lost to UConn. I think.
I remember
Yeah,
them
I think.
going a lot further than I had
Yeah,
because that was like the
yeah.
one team where I counted them out in maybe the first or second round, and then
They
they
had the Harris twins.
just kept shooting. And I was like, that's not possible. You can't just keep making these threes game in and game out. You have to
Yep,
die at some point.
exactly. No, yeah, that's 100% it. And then another team that I like that I saw some decent value on. I'm trying to find them real quick. Oh, there we go. So personally, I think in the Big West Conference tournament, I think UC Irvine wins, but they're plus 165. I think a sleeper in that conference is CSUN, Cal State Northridge. So they're CSUN at plus 1500. They're a team that has beaten the top teams before, and they actually have Larry Hughes' son on the team. He's pretty good. So I think that's a sleeper one I'd put like bonus bets on because I do think UC Irvine wins, but plus 165 isn't great value when you have a Y in there. So that was another one. And then I have one more that I like. It's the Big East Conference tournament winner for a good value. Personally, I think it's going to be UConn or St. John's, but a team that has played UConn and St. John's tough is Seton Hall. I do like Seton Hall at plus 1400 as a good like sleeper value.
They always seem to kind of come out of the blue and win
Yeah.
some big games in almost every sport that they're in. I feel like it's
Yeah.
football, basketball. They're just kind of sneaky.
And I know, and you know what's crazy about them? I think they're the only team that faced Seton Hall and UConn twice, right? Because like everyone faced, they faced UConn and St. John twice. They didn't get blown out by either of them. Really, they were close in it. Like honestly, I think Seton Hall should have beat UConn last time, but I think they're an under. I know people say they may not have the shooting, but they play great defense. And if you can get them at plus 1400 and use like a $10 bonus bet on them, it's definitely worth it because that's 140 right there. So that's not terrible. I just don't see much value on UConn or St. John's like I do for like SFA, or something because I think UConn and St. John's they could beat each other up or they could be like, oh, we're in the tournament, kind of thing. We're just going to try to get far ish. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and I
yeah,
honestly I love both those teams. You got the tall, you got the defense, you got the rebounding. They're a lot of fun, but maybe a little bit higher variance against some of those bigger shooting teams, or sorry, I should say sharper shooting teams. All right.
yeah.
Two plays here from Squishy that I'm reading from Twitter right now. He links the Kings on the money line minus plus 130. These are NHL plays, and the Red Wings money line plus 102. I hope it's okay that I gave those out, but he has been okay so far.
Oh,
Those
I
are
like that.
two plays that I'm definitely going to be following. I'm happy that I didn't fade the Red Wings yesterday because that was or today because that was a team that I was actually looking at to fade. So I'm happy I got to see that before I bet against them.
I like the Red Wings today, and I think the Kings at plus 130 is really good value, especially against a Bruins team. You never know what you're going to get from them.
Yeah, that Bruins team is just confusing to me. I've won tickets on them, but they're always kind of shaky, and you never know until the final whistle blows. They've won and lost multiple games in the third period this year. Just can't get that
Oh
straight.
yeah,
All right, why don't we recap our best bets here, and we'll get on out of
yes,
here, and we'll move on about our day because I know that we both
sounds
have
good.
work.
Yep, and I just sent it to you as you saw. Perfect. I have Santa Clara plus 7.5 for minus 108. UMBC halftime full time with USA money line at minus 125. McNeese SFA money line with USA money line for minus 130. Some variance with USA, but I believe they win. Mavericks Hawks under 239.5 for minus 108 now, and then Jets Ducks under 6.5 at minus 122.
Awesome, man. I'm excited to be following all those games. And again, we got Bayern Munich -1 on the spread. That's a show play from Prince and I from last night. In the World Baseball Classic, I'm going to take a 3-leg money line parlay. One leg has already gone, but the juice was so extreme it doesn't really matter. So I like the Netherlands, USA, and again Japan, but it's a difference of minus 138 to like minus 144. It's not that big of a deal. And then also the USA minus 4.5, minus 148. You can take this with a boost on DK, widely available at minus 119. If you see the first 5 run line at minus 1.5 or minus 2.5 for decent juice that you can use, I actually prefer that than the full game. But again, I'll take the minus 4.5 on the full game. And then in the NHL, I'm going to take the Minnesota Wild on the 60-minute money line at plus 100. Anything before we head out?
Nothing.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to the OnlyBets Sports podcast. This was your Tuesday. Go listen to our Champions League recap and best bets from last night. That's going to be widely available on Twitter and Apple Podcasts. Also, go like and subscribe us there. We really appreciate all the listens and the ratings and reviews. We've had quite a few, and they're really touching to read, honestly, because we do put a lot of effort into our work here. That's going to be it for us. I'm excited for what the rest of the week brings, man. Have a wonderful day.